Turks are driving expats out of their country.
But for Russians, all opportunities are closing. I don't know, payment, opening accounts, transferring money. This is not called optimization. This is called evading the voucher. The only optimization possible within Europe is the opening of some companies or accounts outside of Europe in order to hide money there or optimize it for tax purposes. The tax declaration, because in Europe it is based on the figures that have actually gone through your bank account. In other words, you can't just falsify this story, although I suspect you might be able to do it for 1 or 2 years, but if it comes to light, you will have to pay taxes, potentially leading to the loss of your status. Among the European countries I would recommend Portugal, because it is simply very nice. And overall the cost will probably be about the same as in Turkey, I think, at the moment. There will be a large fine before the tax assessment. The penalty for tax evasion will be significant, and this is a prosecutable offense.
Subtitles made by Dimitozok. Earlier today I spoke with a young girl who lives in Turkey. She is planning to leave from there. She has lived there for God knows how many years, 5 or 6. There is some wild inflation in Turkey. Turks are driving expats out of their country. She chose Greece. In Greece, healthcare is free. In Greece, you can obtain residency in just 1 day. As she explained to me, maybe, as I understood, there is, let's say, a shelter status, and a status that implies social support in residency, right? Well, like some kind of shelter. Maybe you can correct the terminology somehow. You arrive, for example, there is a citizen of Ukraine or Russia, and he explains that there is a war going on, and he does not want to stay in his country. For the same reasons. They probably ask him the question, do you have money or do you need help? He says he needs help. This means he is obtaining residency for a period of 1, 2, or 3 years in the European Union. Yes, or in certain specific countries. And at the same time, they receive some social assistance, free housing, and there is 400, 500, or 800 euros if it is Switzerland.
In Greece, thus?
European Union.
In the European Union.
In Greece, especially. Why? Because the second type of people are those who say, no, I don't need anything, I have a girlfriend, I just want to live there without a visa.
Yes, yes.
Then he receives residency. No benefits. Just that. And this residency is somehow super fast, practically in 1 day. This is not refugee status, because with refugee status, as I understand it, all documents are taken away, and a person renounces their own citizenship, right?
In the end, he will be forced to renounce his own citizenship if the country he is in does not recognize military citizenship.
Uh-huh. Okay. Then the question is about this type of residency. Let's take Greece, for example, because expats from Turkey are likely to go to Greece.
Closer.
Here, everyone speaks English. If we don't pay you social benefits, live as long as you want. Yes. In that case...
A decaying system, right?
Yes, in that case, I have a question. What mechanisms exist in other countries in this way? Or maybe you know where it is better than in Greece?
Well, it's kind of warm in Greece. But it's actually not that warm in Greece. In Athens, for example, there is a distinct winter where it can be around 6 degrees Celsius.
I've never been there. I don't know. I'm talking about why not Spain? Well, because for some reason there, something is lacking in Spain. So, from European countries, is there any information you would recommend for people whose paradise in Turkey has come to an end?
Among the European countries I would recommend, Portugal stands out because it is simply very accessible. And overall the cost will probably be about the same as in Turkey, I think at the moment. It is quite easy to obtain residency there. Again, not the refugee status, but rather the regular residency.
What does it give? Let's break down the thing. You bought...
Listen, it's very simple. It's just the status of your stay in the country, that's all. And it clearly outlines your intentions.
You are a private entrepreneur, right? A sole proprietor. You can work, and you open an account right away in the bank.
Yes, many countries provide such an opportunity. To open an account, to establish a legal entity, and accordingly,
you become subject to a minimal tax.
You become such a nearly full member of society in this country.
Yes, but there is free, complimentary medical care, for example, in Greece, and there is paid care. And we in Indonesia understand very well what paid medical care is.
Also of poor quality.
Here, also by appointment and so on. That is, based on medical services. In Portugal.
It's hard to say. I can't say for sure. I don't even have an opinion.
Okay, why just Portugal?
It's warmer than in Greece. It's very easy to obtain residency. Again, I have never heard that you can get residency in Greece, literally in one day.
Ilinsky today. I talked about this for 40 minutes.
Ilinsky. I am not disputing the position.
V. Ilinsky, 40 minutes. V. Ilinsky, yes. V. Ilinsky, I am providing verified information. V. Regarding Ukrainian citizens who came in one day, obtained residency, and then went to open bank accounts for lunch. All of this took just one day.
Honestly, I find it difficult to compare the citizens of Russia and Ukraine. Let me explain why. For me, all Russian speakers are, to be honest, the same. And when I hear about obtaining residency in one day, I always think of Russians. Because Russians face problems absolutely everywhere. In other words, a red passport is.
You spoke?
So I wonder, can they get it there, for example, in one day? It is quite possible that this situation is currently related to the fact that Ukraine is universally recognized as the affected party in the conflict, and accordingly, they are welcomed everywhere. I can imagine like immediate spitting in the face of people from Russia who came and asked for the same kind of help. For example, as far as I understand, this is purely theoretical and can be described as a political approach.
No, wait, political victims, right? Political Russians, those who think...
These are aggressors.
Well, listen, those who consider themselves victims of politics and disagree do not want these same people very much.
Absolutely right. Completely correct.
What's the problem?
The problem lies elsewhere. The issue is that at the political level, these gates, with one-day residency permits, and the quick acquisition of citizenship in Russia for citizens of Ukraine, yes, these gates are open for citizens of Ukraine, because they are considered the affected party from a political standpoint. For Russians, all opportunities are closing down there. I don't know, payment, opening accounts, transferring, money.
Currently, around the world, China, Turkey, and even Dubai are oppressing and simply cutting off opportunities for business, especially from Russia.
Yes, indeed.
Everyone wants to move to a good place to live and recover there as quickly as possible. What would you recommend 100%?
Southeast Asia and 100% Indonesia. Because firstly, we have low taxes here. And secondly, we have, in a good sense, a financial dump where there is no strict and rigorous financial regulation, at least at the current moment. It turns out to be quite easy to relocate or start a new business right here, and from here, having a company in Indonesia, to distribute money or send it wherever you need. But who will do that? There is an excellent, amazing, absolutely magnificent channel called Expert Bali. You can go there. There is a lot of useful information on this channel about how to do it step by step, who exactly will do it, and in general, how to organize this business practically turnkey, even without flying to Indonesia.
Of course, but there are a huge number of Russians who have also suffered because they do not want to live in a country where there is currently a war.
But they are particularly welcoming to migrants with political support specifically from Ukraine. You understand, this is purely a political matter. And Russians, I think, need to go through a much larger number of forms, questions, and time in order to obtain something quickly in the European Union.
It's interesting. If our 4 subscribers actually know any stories, please share them in the comments. Let's analyze this whole, where one can...
Here, you need to specify who you are referring to, it seems. So, when you talk to me about citizens of Ukraine, I, for example, always think about citizens of Russia, because I have lived in Russia for most of my life.
Agreed. Then let's go over the taxes right now, immediately, without any delay. For example, here is simply a person who... He arrived in Greece and plans to work there. He receives residency, starts a business, and the minimum is something like 8,000 euros per year. Like tax-free, right? Yes, like tax-free. Opens the map. But in reality, they earn more because this is nothing. What are the consequences of such maneuvering or, let's say, tax optimization.
This is not called optimization. It is called tax evasion.
Well, and what about tax evasion? That's good, right? So how strict is it there?
Well, you see, the banking system there is on guard for tax payments. Accordingly, any payment above a certain amount, for example 500 euros, will be checked by the bank to see if these taxes have been paid. Accordingly, the issue of optimization or influence usually involves working in 2 or more countries at the same time. The first is the country where you actually live. The second is the country that is used to earn income or transfer income there and pay taxes. That is, accordingly, the only optimization possible within Europe is to open some companies or accounts outside of Europe in order to store money there or optimize it for taxes.
Beautiful, and Bali Legal can arrange this right away.
Bali Legal is organizing this, yes.
Okay, look, there is some supermaster for nails, for eyebrows. I don't know why. There is also a masseur. He sits there in Europe, doing all his manipulations, receiving money directly onto his physical card. He receives 100, 200 euros there 2 to 3 times a day, yes. And he shows that he earned no more than zakah. You can easily take him by the rear.
Of course, of course. The tax declaration, because in Europe it is based on the figures that actually went through your checking account. In other words, you can't just falsify this story, although I suspect you might be able to do it for 1 year or 2, but if it comes to light, you will have to pay taxes, potentially leading to the loss of your residency status. In other words, these are considered tax crimes, which are treated quite harshly in Europe and the United States. The tax assessments will be significant, the penalties for tax evasion will be substantial, and this is a prosecutable offense.
How to optimize this? How to behave correctly?
Well, the fact that she is a manicurist, as you said, most likely does not give her the opportunity to technically open a company in Indonesia, because it is initially painful for her budget. And, let's say, recovering from that will not be quick.
It's fine if she simply... Well, let's take any person providing services, right? In the service sector, they receive money partially in cash, partially in cryptocurrency, and some part that doesn't go beyond, right? Can one work like that?
When you transfer money from crypto to yourself in Europe, if it's in cash, then it's clear. No questions asked. If it's to a card, there will be questions. And this is also currently being regulated and controlled. I'll tell you this. People who work in Europe, and I communicate with quite a few of them, all say one rule, that they seem to have learned over the years of living there. If you need to pay taxes, pay your taxes. There's no need to come up with excuses.
Well, wait, why can't you transfer crypto to your account? In euros. In Europe. And pay with these euros. Well, these are mine. I earned them. This crypto.
Yes, of course. Tell the bank all of this. Tell them and we'll see what happens.
But why can this be done in Indonesia?
Because Indonesia is currently developing this direction. It, on the contrary, supports crypto payments. It supports the creation of exchanges. There are already 3 exchanges in Indonesia that are functioning reasonably well. State-regulated exchanges are being established, and Indonesia supports this as it wants to become perhaps the top one in the world for crypto payments. Why? Money is coming in. You don't understand that a side effect of this support.
So why does Europe refuse this money? Why doesn't it create a more pleasant climate?
Well, the last time I was at the G20 summit, when I was invited as the head, yes, I remember. Yes. Well, accordingly, I asked this question. And yes, I asked this question, and everyone just shyly looked down. Therefore, I cannot speak for the European Union as to why they have such a policy.
What a shame. Just a shame. How terrible. So, what's happening with Turkey? What are the prospects?
Listen, it's even strange that this issue has come up now, because this question has been around for about 5 years. Probably. I mean, there has been hyperinflation. Probably. For 5 years in a row. Products priced in lira are becoming significantly more expensive, while salaries in lira are not increasing. However, if your income is in dollars, there are no problems, because the lira is devaluing against the dollar.
That's understandable. Why the Turks? Trying to drive all the expats out.
You know, I was driving here today and thinking about this, but regarding Bolivians, why do Bolivians want to survive expats? Because people think that the problem of the economy, the problem of low wages, is not within their competence, it doesn't depend on them. It depends on some guys who came here, and before these guys arrived, everything was different. And here lies the problem, the root of all evil. The issue is not with the expats. Expats, the people who come here, are generally more active than those who live locally because they didn't have to. They were living fine before. They have more motivation, of course. Of course. And they are essentially consuming, with their motivation and competencies, the work and the money that these Turks were earning before them. And naturally, when there is such competition, prices rise. And why do prices rise? Because the people who produce demand more money for themselves. Prices are generally rising, and the Turks, who do nothing and want to continue doing nothing, just like the Bolivians, who also do nothing, want to keep living the same way. They cling to what was before and think that the whole problem lies with the expats. No, the problem is that the world is developing and they are not. That's all.